Hello everyone, this is Eddie, radio call sign Whiskey Delta 3 Delta, and I'm an extra class ham operator located in Atlanta, Georgia. I also administer the exams as a volunteer examiner for 4 of the VEs across the United States, and I'm an accredited license instructor with the ARRL. Online, I've seen a lot of questions from new operators about incorporating communications into their kit, their helmets and plate carriers and so forth. So I thought that I would put together a small video just to kind of walk through each piece of equipment and what you'll need to get your kit up and going for communications. The first thing that I'd like to do before we get started is mention a Facebook group that you're all going to find very helpful for learning about the plate carrier and other items in your kit. And that's the plate carrier setup and gear review site located over on Facebook. If you just search for this site on Facebook, you'll be able to see it. And the other one I'd like to mention is the Tactical Comms Facebook group over at Facebook. It also has abundant information on communications for your helmet to your plate carrier and so forth. So go and check those two out. If you want to follow along during this video, if you will go over to WD3D.live in your browser and click on Helmet Comms in the upper navigation. And this is just a placeholder video until I get this one finished. If you scroll down a little bit on that page, I've put together a web page here that has all of the equipment that you will need for your kit to get comms going on your helmet and so forth. The helmet I choose to use is the Ops Core helmet, and it's right here. It's been a great piece of equipment for me, and one of the reasons I use this is because it was easy to incorporate my headset into the helmet. All the pieces are here. If you can see, I've got also got the 4D pads, which you may want to look at that padding over at TNVC. It really does good for the inside of your helmet. It actually forms the helmet a little bit better to your head, and it's very, very comfortable. Additionally, from OpsCore, they have the helmet rails here, which are available and fit perfectly into their system, so it makes it real easy to add your headset into your helmet. There's other great helmets, Team Windy, there's all kinds of great helmets out there, but the reason I picked this is because it was so easy to incorporate all of these elements into it, and they're all battle proven. And it's worked very, very well for me in training. As we continue down to the next piece of equipment, this is probably the most important piece as far as comms are concerned, and that's the, I use the OpsCore amps, these, and they very simply connect to the rails, and then you can put them on the back of your helmet, and then you just simply twist them around as you need them. And each of these items on this page, if you look at it, I've made them all clickable. Like there's a video that shows you how to switch everything over from your headset to your helmet. But if you click, for example, on any of the photos, it will take you to the actual piece of equipment where you can get an idea. The amps are currently $1,350 at Midway, and I know it's a big chunk of money, but really when you're buying a headset, you're buying a piece of equipment that does 3 very important things. Number 1 is it protects your ears. Number 2, it will amplify your surroundings to give you better situational awareness. And number 3, it has this communication element where you're able to communicate with your team. So I know there's a lot of different brands out there that are all good, and the main thing is just be sure, whichever way you decide to go, that you're able to get it onto your helmet and that you're going to have the down leads and everything from the headset to be able to go to your radio, which leads us to the next point. If we keep scrolling down on this web page, if you're working through the page with me, the plate carrier that I choose to use is a JPC, a Cry JPC 2.0 jumpable plate carrier. And what I do is you're going to need this first down lead cable is what they call it. And if you look at one end here, this end actually connects to either side. It has both of these inputs for the mic and for the down lead on each side of the headset. And this connection goes into the headset, and then as you get to the other side of the connection, I plug this connection into an extension cable. And the reason I do that is, rather than having my radio up here, I don't want anything to get in the way when I'm going. I don't want anything getting in the way of my chest. So I move my radio down to my side. Well, to do that, I needed an extension cable. So you would simply plug this end of the down lead into this end of the extension cable, and you can see that. Let me move over here. You can see the extension cable coming down here, and again, this is the down lead coming off of the top of my shoulder strap. I chose to come out at this point right here because it makes it easy. I can hold my helmet, I can hook up my down lead and put my helmet on, and really the only distance is from here to here in my helmet, and I can turn my head or move any way I want to, and there's no obstruction. It doesn't get hung up. It's out of the way. So I've really found, just trying different things, that worked the best. That worked best for me. So I added the down lead to move it down here, radio and everything down here on the side of my plate carrier. After you come out of that down lead, you can either go directly into the plate of the PTT, or I chose to put in a Discus. And what a Discus does is it is a Bluetooth module over at disco32.com that will enable you to Bluetooth any app you may have directly into your headset, meaning your telephone. You can make a telephone call. All of the apps like Signal and Zello is another one, Telegram, any of those other apps. Like, for example, if you have someone that you're training with that does not have their comms completed yet, they can get a Discus and you all can still speak to each other through your headset on Signal or one of the other apps. And we'll go over that more down as we move to the bottom, but I just wanted to show you that is the next thing over here that I've got in line, coming off the extension cable into the Discus. And then the next thing I go into is the PTT. That's your push to talk, and you can see it right here. When you get a push to talk, just make sure that you get one with the right connection for the radio that you're going to be using. And Disco32 has a selection of PTTs over there where you can choose your particular radio. So that's pretty much it as far as the wiring into your radio. The next thing that I'd like to talk about is the radio itself. I've seen quite a few people that are running these higher end enhanced combat radios, the SRX 2200, and it goes on up 8,000. Motorola is a great radio, probably one of the best. And some of these radios are very, very pricey. I mean, you can pay $1,500 up to $5,000 for a VHF, UHF radio. And they're built to be battle tough, and they can do some other types of things, encryption and other things that are extremely important. But this video I'm making for people who are just getting started in comms, or maybe you've got a Baofeng, $25 Baofeng, and you're looking for the next step up. And this is what I would like to recommend, and this is also what I use. The first one is the Yaesu FT5. It also, just like this expensive radio here, The Yaesu FT5 has VHF, UHF. Additionally, it's got System Fusion Digital. It has 5 watts of power, just like this radio, this Motorola. They both have 5 watts of power. And in addition to this radio, I would suggest getting something like the Anytone AT878 and run them together, not necessarily the same time on your plate carrier, but if you have both radios, if you look at the pricing here, you're $429 and $314. So you're in it for, let's call it $750, but look what you get. You get VHF and UHF on not one, but 2 radios. So if one of your radios breaks, you now have a backup radio for VHF, UHF, unlike if you spend $2,000 on one of these radios and it breaks, you're out, you're done. So keep in mind, you'll be getting a backup running these 2 radios. In addition to VHF, UHF, and System Fusion Digital, the Anytone will also add GMRS capability, and you're also going to get DMR digital. And you can use the same antenna on both of these radios and have a complete communication powerhouse with a lot of contacts and a lot of people to speak to. And at some point in the future, if you say to yourself, well, you know what, I'd like to get one of these higher end SRX 2200, 8000, whatever it is, I've got the money, I want to get one of these, then go and do it at that point. But even if you do that, you've still got 2 backups if something ever happens to this really expensive radio that you've bought. And let me mention one other thing too. One of the things you're going to have to do is you're going to have to program the radio. So some of these radios, the upper end radios, some of them can be very difficult to program. You may have to send it to somebody, to have the programming done. With the Yaesu or the Anytone, if you look on the site here, there's a company called RT Systems that has very simple software for only $25, where you use a simple spreadsheet and you can go in and program the radio yourself. You can change it. The Yaesu actually has an SD card, so if you're ever traveling or going somewhere, you can pull out the SD card and along your highway route, pick out the repeaters and write them to the card, and then use that card for whenever you go on a trip. And then you can use another card whenever you're training with your friends, and you can use a different card if you're ever traveling up to Michigan for, so that capability is there, and the ease to program the radio is there, and it's not expensive to be able to do it. They also have the programming software for the Anytone, if you want to run GMRS. And here's here's an Anytone that I've got running right now, and I don't know if it'll focus, but you can see on the first band I'm running GMRS, and on the lower band I'm running 2 meter repeaters. And then I've also got a whole different section set up for digital. I've got a separate section set up for UHF for 70 centimeters on that radio. And excuse me, if you look at the Yaesu, you can see on the top 145, I'm running the VHF, and 441, the second row, I'm running UHF for 70 centimeters. If this radio ever breaks, I've got this one right here that's running VHF and UHF, and I just put it right into my kit. I get a separate PTT from Disco 32, and I'm good to go with this radio. So that's just something else to keep in mind, especially if you're new. Just like your rifle or anything else that you train with, you want to get good with it. You want to get good with radio too. So you want to be able to program your own radio and take care of everything on it as you need it in case something ever goes wrong. So The next thing I want to talk about is just repeaters, because some of you may be confused about, okay, well, you've told me about the helmet, plate carrier, the radios. Now, what do I do with the radios? Well, if you go here, if you're on the site, just click here and go to repeaterbook.com. And over on the left-hand side, you'll see a menu. Well, let me go to the main page because this sent me to the map page. Let me just go to the main repeater book page. And let me change that. Repeaterbook.com. Click where it says North American Repeaters. And then scroll down and choose your state. All right, I'll choose Georgia. As you look at this page, you can see that your search is dependent on any number of things. The band you're searching for, the feature like digital and so forth. You can search according to that. One thing to keep in mind is you'll see on here that you've got 2 meters. All right, 2 meters is the exact same thing as VHF. And 2 meters, if you look on any of the radios, that top row right there is VHF. That's 2 meters. This bottom row on the radio is UHF, and it's also known as 70 centimeters. So VHF, UHF. On the FT5, it has 2 separate receivers. So you can be scanning repeaters on 2 meters and scanning repeaters on 70 centimeters at the same time. So let's go back and look at the site here, and you'll see over here 70 centimeters. 70 centimeters is the same thing as UHF, and you can run both of those on both of these radios, so you always have a backup and you're always going to have communication. So if we click on 2 meters, let the page load here, and you go down, you can sort this any way you want to. I'm going to sort location. Let's find a repeater in Atlanta down here. So for example, if we go down to right here, you can see there's a repeater at Georgia Tech, and all of the information that you need to enter into your software is right here. The frequency, the PL tone, there's even a call sign for the repeater. Whether it's active or inactive is on here, and that's all you're going to do. You're just going to enter that information into this spreadsheet software, and then you'll be able to make contact with the repeater. Now, one thing I do want to mention, I've seen a couple of comments on one of those groups from someone that was new to communications. He said he had a Baofeng or something and was trying to talk to a bunch of people, and they never would respond to him. The reason that was happening is you were trying to get into a frequency, but you didn't have a PL tone programmed into your radio. That tone tells the repeater, hey, I've got a message coming in, you need to relay it. So if you're trying to talk to a bunch of people on 2 meters or 70 centimeters and they're not answering you, the reason is you don't have the tone entered into your radio, and your transmission never even made it to the radio. It's not that you're too far. It's not that you don't have enough power. It's that you just didn't set up your radio properly to do it. So when you get the radios, look at the PL tone in the setup, make sure that all of that matches, and then make a test transmission into the repeater. So that's pretty much how you find all of the repeaters and everything you're looking for. And, you know, again, I just want to also say that you can search this not only by the band, but, you know, if you're looking for a DMR, digital repeater, that any tone will actually do, all you do is click on DMR, find the city that you want to go to, like there's Marietta. Right there is a UHF DMR repeater, Kilo 4 United Sierra Delta, and you enter that information into your into your Anytone or something that's DMR digital capable, and you'll be able to get on that repeater and talk to those people. So that's it for repeaters. The next thing I wanted to talk about is one thing about VHF and UHF that you need to know is transmission distance is highly dependent on your altitude or the other station's altitude. So all of these radios, both the Yaesu and the Anytone, have the exact same wattage as the expensive Motorola. They're all 5 watts, 6 watts, whatever. They're all less than 10 watts. I think the Motorola is 5 or 6. I know the Anytone is 6 and the Yaesu is 6. So paying $2,200 for a bigger or more fancy, I guess you would say, HT from Motorola does not mean that you're going to have more power. You're going to have the same power as one of these other Yaesus. What's going to make the difference in your distance is your altitude. If either you or the receiving station, the higher you are because it's line of sight, the better your transmission is going to be. So there's a repeater right now on GMRS that's located just south of the Georgia-Tennessee line in the mountains in North Georgia that I hit with a 6 watt handy talkie from Atlanta. And it's probably 40, 45 miles. I couldn't believe it. The only reason that, number one, conditions, it's actually 2 reasons. Conditions, radio conditions at the time, and because that repeater is very elevated. It's on a mountain, and not only is it on a mountain, but it's also on a tower above that. So same for some of the 2-meter repeaters that I've talked on. They're on towers that are on mountains, so they have a very wide coverage area. So when you're talking simplex with one of your friends, and all simplex means is you're not talking on a repeater, you're just both entering the same frequency into your radios. If you're talking simplex with another team member, the higher that you two can get to remove any obstructions, the clearer you're going to hear each other and the longer you're going to be able to transmit. So that's how we get to the next section. You may find that you want to put a larger antenna on the back of your plate carrier, and I'd do that with a 45-inch broadband antenna, and I use this extension cable. And if you look on the computer, the web screen here, this little attachment right here is a BNC attachment, so you can attach this extension cable. And I just extend this 45-inch broadband antenna. When I'm not using it, all I do is simply fold it up and then Velcro it. There we go. I Velcro it and then put it in my admin pouch, and it really works for when you're stationary. You're not someplace, because like I said, it's almost 4 feet tall, but it'll easily break down where you can get it into your admin pouch on the back. And once you get someplace where you need to make longer communications, it'll certainly do that. I don't know if I can point on this thing. If you look right here, I've also got a tripod that will add another about 12 to 13 feet once I get it completely extended. So with that tripod and the 45-inch broadband antenna, I got another almost 20 feet of height, which if you're looking, out on the horizon, it could be the difference in making the communication and not making the communication. So the next thing I want to do is I want to focus more on the Discus again and its capabilities. Again, this is just in line right before you're push to talk and then right off of the extension cable. And what this does is it allows you to use any app on your phone, your telephone on your phone, and everything will come through your headset. And it's really cool how it works. And one of the big things is EchoLink. And let me see if I can get my phone going here. This is, yeah, it's hooking up now. There we go. This is airdroid.com. It'll hook your phone up to your, so I've got my telephone here and it'll hook it up to the computer. Here's EchoLink. And that's another thing I want to tell you is once you get your license, your ham radio license, there's going to be so many things that are available to you that you are not aware of now. EchoLink, Parks on the Air. I mean, you can just go on and on of all these things that are available to ham operators just for having a tech license from taking a 15-minute test. And we're going to go over getting ready for a test and where to test. You do it all online. We'll do that a little bit later after we go over this. But one of the things that you can do is called EchoLink, and it networks all of these radios and repeaters all over the planet, literally the entire planet, and it becomes available to you. So what you can do is on a Saturday afternoon after you've trained and you still want to do some radio training, you can have your full kit on, and I do this, and you can log into using Discus, you can log into a net where they're having a net discussion over in London somewhere, and you're standing in the backyard with your full kit on, and you're a part of the net, and you're using that time to find out, okay, is that out of batteries? How's the battery? You know, you're training. Two types of training. You've got your regular range training, but you need to also put on full kit and do ham radio training. Your communications, I believe, are just as important as getting out and doing all the other regular training. So let me pull up EchoLink here and let's have a look. How about that? My direct supervisor texted me right in the middle of a video. We will contact her a little bit later. So if you look at, for example, I'm just going to go through and look at one of these here. If we click on repeaters, as you go down through here, you can see there's one in the Philippines. You know what? Let me move the mouse down so it points it right what I'm talking about. There's repeaters all over. I mean, this is literally going around the entire planet. So you can do it by location. For example, if you want to look in Europe and find a conference that may be going on in the UK, you can go down through here and find, you know, wherever you see 0 out of 20, there's nobody on that conference yet. Or they're not having a conference. I don't know what time it is over there right now, but the cool thing is you can pretty much contact any of your local stations. You know, I've got some favorites here around Georgia. Here's the Georgia conference. We can connect right into the Georgia conference. So you can see there I am. I just connected to the repeater. Here are other people that are on the repeater right now. Brunswick, Neil, this call sign he's in. There's one in Baldesta, Georgia. Let's make a transmission. Whiskey Delta 3 Delta for any station. Okay, they're not having a conference right now, so we can click end. We're done with that. Go back over here, and then we can, you can go through and find any location that you want to. If you want to, there's China. I think you get the picture, but the interesting thing about it is that you can do all of that through your headset. Just like you're out and about, you're always going to have someone to talk to and a way to practice and a way to train your comms, your radio, all of your wiring and everything else. It's not like you're going to buy a radio and not have anyone to talk to, because there's so much out there that's available to you once you get licensed. So let's talk about that next. Let's talk about you getting your technician license or an upgrade if you're already a tech. If at Whiskey Delta 3 or WD3D.live, if you just click on license testing, I've put together a video here that will walk through and tell you step by step what you need to do to get your ham radio license. And I'm telling you, it is 15 minutes. People think it's a big deal. It's not. We are now giving this test online. You take it from the comfort of your home, living room, office, wherever your computer is. You can sit out on the back deck if you want to and take the exam. And it's all done through Zoom. And I go through all the steps here on this website with the video, and I show you. It's really 3 steps. Step 1, get an FRN number. Step 2, go over to hamstudy.org. It's absolutely free, no cost whatsoever. Put it in study mode. And while you're in study mode, on the side, you'll see all of the test questions that you've seen and all of the sections that you've seen. Once you go through and you've seen all the questions, if you miss one, about 4 or 5 questions down the line, it'll give you that question again to see if you remembered what the answer to the question is. And you keep doing that 30 minutes a day for a week or however long it takes you, and then your efficiency begins to build. And then all of a sudden, the next time you see a question, it's like, oh, I already know what that, you already know what it is. And as you go down and read through, you'll see that you can sign up to take the exam. You pick a time, you get Zoom ready on your computer, and you're able to share the screen on Zoom. Really easy stuff. And when you get to the bottom, there's a button there to contact me if you want to take the exam and get your tech license. There's 3 levels of license. There's tech, there's general, and there's amateur extra. And each one, you get an upgrade in bands that you can use. With tech, it's pretty much VHF, UHF, and some of 10 meters in voice, and you get some other on data. When you get your general, that's when you start getting into HF, or high frequency, 10 meters, 20 meters, 40 meters, and you start doing parks on the air and some of these other programs where you go out and you set up your equipment at a park and you activate the park, and literally people all over the planet are trying to get you because they're trying to get that park. So you've got a pile up of people that are trying to contact you because you're in a park that they need. So just know there's a whole lot out there to do in ham radio, and so much more becomes available to you once you get your technician license. The tech license, 35 questions, general's 35 questions, but tech license you can do in 15 minutes, and then you'll have your license and you'll be all good to go. So that's pretty much everything. And if you have any questions for me, just let me know. And there's a contact number or contact button on the website there where you can contact me if you have any other additional questions, or if you need any help. It's good to know somebody that's in ham radio that may be able to kind of help you along whenever you run into issues or whatever. So, and just shoot me a contact if I can help in any way. So that's it for me today. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe, and please tell anybody that wants to know a little bit more about comms in their kit to check out WD3D.live and just click on Helmet Comms and share the video with them. And thanks for subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to get the numbers up a little bit, so I really appreciate that. 7-3 from Whiskey Delta 3 Delta, Eddie in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'll catch you a little farther down the log. Have a good day.